Julia?
Julia.
Ross.
Anita. Linda.
Tony?
Peter.
Shaya. Lucky. Edith.
Lee.
Paul.
Alicia.
Jacinta. Kavisha.
Tibor.
Helen?
Anyone.
Jack. Dean.
And
Saroja.
Michael.
and Bob. Sorry, darling.
Take the whole there. Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Great to see you all.
Great to see you.
And after an amazing week, it's great. Well, what we talk about here is, well, it tells you in the Bible or one of the scriptures, where two or three are gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst of it. But you need to recognise it. Well, each and every one of you say, I am. So you already know it. But sometimes we lose sight of it. We think we are the person, the separate entity, the individual. Take on that belief that we are and lose sight of our true nature. And in that losing sight, when you lose sight of something you don't see it's there, you might realise, not know it's there. When it's just covered over or obscured. And that's what happens. We get obscured from our reality and take on the opinion, the concept, the idea, what's all around us, that I am this individual. I am this person. Not realising what you actually and really are. The pure intelligence energy, the activity of knowing, of being, and loving to be. That's how they express that shit in there. Existence, consciousness, bliss, is being, knowing, and loving to be. And everybody knows the great mantra, I am that. And we know that when we say, I am that person, that individual. A little bit of investigation, a little bit of realisation. I am that life. There's nobody who's not alive right now. So you must be the life. I am that beingness. There is no one who is not being. I am that knowingness. No one who is not knowing. And I am that love of being. Anyone doesn't want to be right now. So naturally and effortlessly, you are that. And that's what needed to be recognised. Because they call it cognising emptiness. We think we are cognising emptiness. But they don't realise that it's the emptiness itself, the no-thingness, the one essence that's cognising everything. And the Buddha told you that a couple of thousand years ago when he called it a cognising emptiness and made the statement that emptiness is form. A lot of forms in this room and outside of it, but it's all that emptiness. Emptiness is form, and he pointed out the forms can be nothing other than the emptiness. And Sagata tells you, my silence sings, my my emptiness is full. So that emptiness we point to is not a vacuum, a void, or a no thing. It's the fullness of being, of knowing, and loving to be. It is life itself. And that's what Christ told you. I am the way. I am the life. I am the truth. People thought he was talking about himself. He wasn't. He was pointing at that sense of presence. That sense of presence is with you right now. That's the way. That's the truth. That's the life. And other things I tell you, so let it rest in its uncontrived singularity. It's a singular. It's the only. It's the one. But we make it through the thinking into the many. But he says, relax, rest in its singularity. And Socrates tells you, realize you are dreaming a dream you call the world. And stop looking for ways out. The dream is not your concern. Your concern is you love one part of the dream and not the other. Isn't that what's happening? We're getting involved in what this is going on or that's going on and not realizing it all. He says the dream is not your concern. Your concern is you love one part of the dream and not the other. He says love all of it or none of it. And this is the important part. And the rest will be done for you. That it happens by itself. It reveals itself naturally and effortlessly. So all that work I put in, repeating mantras, searching for this, looking for that, and getting locked up in the concepts, the conceptualizing and the thinking, making all sorts of problems happen. If I'd have known then what I know now and left it as it is, it's been a long while out of all that psychological suffering, the fear, the anxiety, the stress, the guilt, the shame, remorse, the unhappiness. Let it rest. Can I negate the beingness? Existence, consciousness, bliss. It's another way they're putting it. Anyone who's not existing, of course you're existing, you know that. Anyone who's not knowing or conscious, you're all conscious. Anyone unaware, you're not unaware. So you fit that statement right away without seeking for it. Existence, consciousness, bliss. Being, knowing, and loving to be. Try and negate your beingness if you can. The trouble is we call ourselves human beings. We believe in God or some other power becomes a supreme being. Cancel out that word human. Cancel out the word supreme. Now try and tell me you're not being. Nobody's jumping up and saying I'm not being. Purely and simply because you know there is a knowing that you are. I am. I am being. Many of us search for years and years and years and miss out the simplicity of what is. We get the concept of what we think it is or it might be or it could be and try and follow what others are pointed to and misinterpret what they're saying and think we need to do this and do that and think of something else or read this or repeat this. Not settling down to the pure being, knowing and loving to be that I am, that you are, that is all that it is. And isness is not was. It's not what will be. It is this immediacy right now. This is as it is. Isn't that so? Can you say it's any other way? Only if you try to grasp with a concept or some thought, or it's not good enough, or I can't feel this, or I'm not this. But all sorts of concepts and ideas on it, missing out on the actuality, the reality. We take on these concepts. I am this person. But they tell you the person is not reality. Where does the word person come from? Come from an ancient language, Latin, I think it is, persona, a mask. So as soon as you think you're a person, you've got this conceptual image of what this person, I'm Bob, the Australian, the good fellow, or not so good, I'm this, that and the other, relating to the persona. Am I this body? Well, for a long time I believed I was this body. And then, though I was saying it quite often, never understood it, never grasped it. My body. So my coat, my jacket, my car, my house. I know the coat, not the coat, the jacket, the car or the house. Well, if I look at things in that light, maybe I'm not the body either. And when it was looked at in that light, it was seen it wasn't. What's this body made up of? Body is made up of elements. Air, earth, fire, water, space. Just like the elements around you. Tell you if that's so. Take the water out of your body. See how long you'd last without the water. Take the fire, the body temperature. You soon wouldn't last long without the body temperature. Take the food essence. You wouldn't last without the food. Get off the earth, get out of space. Take these elements away, and that body would fall apart. And what are these elements? Air, earth, fire, water, space. Just elements. All those elements can be broken down into subatomic particles. And all those particles can be broken down into energy. So this body is nothing but a vibrating pattern of energy, which, with this thing we call mind, we claim as my body. We'll have a look at this thing called mind. Can anyone show me a thing called mind? Claims to be my mind. Well, what is mind? Mind's word, sound. What's word? Sound. Isn't it a vibration? Isn't it a vibration, a movement of energy? So this thing I call mind is the same. It's a vibration energy. So I call it intelligence energy. I don't use the term God, because we set up this God as something superior, and we take that from the wrong direction. It tells you in the scriptures that God created man in his image and likeness. So we've naturally taken on the idea that we are this pattern, shape and form. We think God is in the shape of a body, shape and form. Big Daddy up there in the sky that's going to beat the shit out of us if we don't do the right thing. Instead of recognising that in the image of likeness, God is absolute. It is no thing. It is that pure essence in which everything can pattern, shape and form. But the everything is still that godliness, the no thingness. not a vacuum or a void, but no pattern, no shape, and no form. Just pure intelligence energy. But to express, to appear, it needs to appear in some pattern, shape and form, like the words. Expressing as some pattern, shape or form. A tree, a flower, the bird. Everything is that one intelligence energy. That's what I call it. Not your intellects. Intelligence. Intellects only go a certain way. But you cannot negate the intelligence, the being, the knowing that you are. And it's that one intelligence that to express, it needs to have different pattern, shapes and forms to express through, which they call in Buddhism a phenomenal manifestation. A phenomenal, definitely. And the definition of phenomena is that which appears to be. Appearance is not how it is. Appearance is how it seems to be. So all this manifestation is a phenomenal manifestation, appearing in all the different patterns, shapes and forms in which it appears. And we see it patterning, shaping, forming in its all its variety, and discriminate it and take it to be separate. But it's still the one essence. That's pattern, shape and form, experiences everything. And we learn words. What are words? Words are sound. What's sound? A vibration. A vibration is a movement of energy. And the words are not the real. Take the word water. If you think it's real, try and drink the word. Wash in the word, swim in the word. You can't. It's only describing something other. And you need to understand the description can never be the described. And what we're trying to describe here is not its description. The word fire, does it burn your mouth if you speak the word? Can you heat yourself with it? You can't. The word me or I, is that what you are? What's a me? What is I? Just sounds. And are you a sound? Sound is a vibration. A vibration's a movement of energy. Pause the thought for a moment. Without the word, without the sound, is it the end of you? No, it's not. And if you were the word and the sound, you'd be frightened of going to sleep at night because you gladly give up the word at night when you go to sleep. So a little bit of investigation. You're not these things we've taken for granted and believed in, which is causing us to suffer, to fear, to be angry, to be fearful and unhappy about. Well, now you're a little bit more than that. One of the scriptural statements, he recognises that. And he realises, I am I, who is the consciousness, the awareness. What does it matter what I say or think or do? Thinking that, he says, I throw my hat in the air and dance for joy because I know the truth. I know what I am. And that's it. Seeing, knowing and loving to be. Not the body, not the mind, not the person. Pure essence. it's a bit early to finish it.
Yeah, go on.
We need to know, as I say, I can't teach you anything. I can't tell you anything. All I can do is point toward and ask you to look to where you're being pointed to and see for yourself. Because that I am, if I believe I am that, cannot do anything. But that's the great mantra. I am that. That is all there is. And innately you already know it. Because I say, that's the chair I'm sitting in, that's the room I'm in, that's the carpet on the floor, that's the tree, that's the cat, that's you, that's me. We already know. Everything is that. But we put the different labels, different concepts on, and divide it and separate it. So that which is pointing to is the one essence, not the conceptual image or the word. So the map is not the territory. The pointer is not it. It can only be pointed to. And you need to follow the pointer and look at the map and follow to where it's pointing to and see if you anything. So I can't teach you anything. Can't tell you anything. Now the way I put it, I'm not speaking to anybody. I'm not speaking to any mind. I'm not speaking to that body-mind entity that you might believe you are. What I'm speaking to is that I am, the same I am. And the I am is not the thought I am, but what it represents. It represents the sense of presence, the knowing that you are. If I ask you who you are, you'll say, I am so-and-so. Whatever name you've been given. But that name you've been given is not the reality. It's a label. But go back and look again. What is that reality? Anyone stop being? Anyone stop knowing? Anyone stop loving to be? Thoughts and things might be coming up, ideas and obscurations coming up. What are they appearing in? If that life or sense of presence wasn't there, how many thoughts does a corpse have? How many feelings does it have? The corpse with the life out of it can't do anything. Initially, without that consciousness or awareness, it's still functioning for a little while. What it's doing, forming bacteria and enzymes that rots the corpse and break it down, till it goes back into its natural state of space-like awareness. Awareness is like space. You can't tell me what it is, but you can't negate it. None of you can say, I am unaware right now. You'll say, I am aware. But then you would, I'm aware of this and that, which obscures the pure awareness. But awareness is life. It's the truth. It's the actuality. That beingness and knowing and loving to be. Absolute. And that's what I tell you. God or reality or life is absolute. What can you add to absolute? Nothing at all. It wouldn't be absolute. What can you take away from absolute? Not the least little thing. the least little thought or idea, it wouldn't be absolute. But know yourself as absolute, instead of knowing yourself as I am this person. If you know yourself as absolute, nothing can be added to you, nothing can take. Who could be superior to you if you're absolute? You realise that nobody could be superior to you because it's all absolute. So then would you want to be jealous or envious or him next door or her that knows more or has got more? What would be the point if you know you are the same absolute that they are? Nothing can be added to you. Who can be superior to you? Nobody. Who can be inferior to you? And then you wouldn't look down on the other person, because whether they're appearing to be so or not, they are the absolute. And what would you want or need from anybody else? Recognise that as a door to freedom. Freedom from the known, from all these conceptualisations, worries and concerns that are happening. If you are the absolute, no matter where you think you are or what you think you're doing as the person, it's not how it's appearing. You are still that, and you're still knowing you are that. There's the things we looked at. See the words, not the thing. And know what they tell you in the Bible, in the beginning was the Word. It's when it all began. The Word was with God. The Word was God. All things were made by Him, the Word. And there was nothing made that was made without the Word. So that's all this God is, another label or word we put on that vibrating intelligence entity. And have a look, everything you're speaking and talking about and thinking about is word. And there's no word that is the real. The description is not what we're describing. The map is not the territory. Word is sound. Sound's a vibration. Body is vibration. It's all vibrating patterns of energy, which appears and seems to be real. And the definition of reality is that which never changes. Again, this body that you believe you are is changing right now. It's transient. There's not one cell, but there are thousands of cells dying in it right at this moment and being replaced. Being replaced. And each cell already knows what to do. Because a skin cell won't replace a brain cell. A brain cell won't replace a heart cell. Or a liver cell won't replace a skin cell. Each cell suffused with that intelligence energy, knowing what to do, does what it needs to do. And you realise this body is transient. It's constantly changing. It's not the same body you walked into this room with. Very close, seemingly so, and it seems to be. But look back on this body as it was 6 months ago or 10 years ago. Is it the same? You know it's not the same. It seems to have changed. It's transient. But to be transient, what has got to change in time? Now, is there such a thing as time? Past, present and future. But have a look, is there a past if you don't think about it? Try and live yesterday. Try and live a moment ago. If you're not recalling what happened a moment ago, it's gone. If you're not recalling what happened a few years ago, it's gone. is transient. It's constantly changing. Past is gone. The future hasn't arrived. Past is gone. The future is anticipation, imagination. And the present is only momentary. Pre-sense. That's prior to all these sensations comes up. It's a vibration, a spontaneous vibration. But everything is happening. It's cognizing. In other words, that means it's knowing. It's suffused with that cognizing or knowing, which I call intelligence energy, because the knowing is vibrating into different things. Energy. And the Buddha told you that when he called it a cognizing emptiness and made the statement, emptiness is form. All these forms, including you, me, the tree, the room, the space in the room, everything out there is emptiness, which is forming into these seeming things. He made that statement, emptiness is form, turned it round another way and said, the forms can be nothing other than the emptiness. So he's talking about you and me. Do you realise it? We think we are something, but we are that emptiness, which is no thing and everything. It's a little bit more than the personal. And it has this capacity of appearing as other, seemingly so, phenomenally, that which appears to go. And I tell you, in some of those kind of things are not what they seem. And when you look into it, you'll see that as a fact. So a little bit of investigation, and you can't help but see the truth. And they see the truth, know the truth. That's the scripture saying. And the truth will set you free. That's what needs to be known, the truth. That's where the freedom, peace and joy lies, in knowing that, not in the believing that you're this, that or the other. The difference between knowing and believing. Look in your dictionary, look up the definition of belief. Definition of belief is an unquestioned acceptance of something in the absence of reason. Acceptance of an alleged fact, mind you, without positive knowledge or proof. When your parents told you little Johnny, and you took on the belief that I am little Johnny, this body mine, we didn't question it. And we believe it to be so. And because of that lack of questioning, lack of looking into it, we've suffered ever since. But a little bit of a questioning, you can see through it. It doesn't have to be that way, because there it is. Know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So a little bit of looking at it and recognising it and seeing it as it is, not as it was or what as you think it will be, but just as it is right now, and see the difference. That's what I point out, and a lot of you in here have had tastes of it and know it, and little recognitions of it, and can speak it as well or better than I, because each one innately knows it. It's only a bit of reminding. As I told you in the Bible, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. How would you renew your mind? Wouldn't it be just to remind yourself and keep reminding yourself, I'm not this conceptual image that I believe myself to be? See what happens then. So away you go.
We have quite a few welcome messages from people. We have 20 plus people watching with us, but we have no questions to read just yet. I was kind of hoping for a sharing, especially from you, Manju, but nothing has come just yet. So would anyone like to start and tell us? Actually, the best way to go about it is to actually say out loud what does resonate. Questions are welcome as well, but if there is anything that does actually touch your heart, there is anything that rings true, that finds home. Anita, would you like to start? Please.
For me, what really rings is the love of being. The joy and the love of being.
Yes.
During the week, we had a little slight emergency at home, and my wife was quite ill with chronic diarrhea, and I was really worried about that because my brother had gone through that, and eventually that made him so weak that he could no longer fight the cancer he was suffering from. Anyway, I took Cherie to the doctor, and the doctor just prescribed the usual off-the-shelf medication and some hydration liquids. And then we came home and things seemed to ease a bit. But that night, about 8 o'clock at night, I sensed that the exact moment when she had recovered. And I knew it was the exact moment because it was a kind of falling away that once I'd realised that everything that I'd believed in fell away at one stage, and it was the same thing. And I noticed she was standing up straight, and it was just this knowledge that it was all over. It was she's going to be all right, and she'll recover. And it was very, very, very much like that. And another thing happened through the week as well. And I'd been just driving and noticing how much things change. I was quite aware of the perspective of the changing perspective of objects as they approach and disappear into nothingness, really, as they just go by. And then I realised that what I am at the centre doesn't move at all. Everything else is moving, but the being is absolutely still. Just two little things that came up through the week.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yes, Julie?
I liked what you said about, like, how the being doesn't going anywhere. I was talking yesterday to a man whose father died during COVID while he was in a coma from COVID. And we were talking about, where did he go? That was essentially what I said was, this life that is doesn't go anywhere. It's nothing. The only thing that seems to go is this body, and that's not what you are. The other thing that came to my mind was just just this idea of believing that's so popular. But do you believe that you are? Or do you know that you are? Do you need a belief to know that you are? Anyway, there's nothing else I can add to this.
Thank you. Linda.
For a long time, I've watched how I've been testing how do I move by my thoughts, or am I separate from my thoughts? And this morning was a very good example. I was waiting for Saroja and her husband to pick me up, and suddenly the body started moving, putting on its shoes. I'm just watching all of this, and the mind saying, but hold on, it's too early, and you know, they're not here yet, and they normally call you, and the phone would ring or something like this. But I watch this, and the shoes are going on, and the door's opening, and the bag's coming out. And so I think then the mind says, okay, we're going to go out and sit in the sun or stand in the sun. So we're standing in the sun, car's not here. And then the body starts moving, and I think the sun's over there, what are you doing? The body starts moving towards the road. It's like, hold on a minute, the sun's that way. There's a bit of sun over there, you know, this is the mind for you, you know. But there's a bit of sun over there. And as I walk out there, they are, the car's there. It's funny how it works, no? You know,
Beautiful.
you see this sort of thing happen.
Just like the being doesn't move, the now doesn't move either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like just now, whenever it is.
Always present.
Sometimes when I'm going for a walk, I close my eyes and keep walking. And when you do that, it's the funny thing, you feel your legs going, but you feel a sense of not going anywhere. And that's fun. I don't do it for too long, though. But there is this moment of just a suspension. It's beautiful.
But then you actually know where you're walking, because all of a sudden you're okay, and then you think, oh, what if I go into the grass? But in actual fact, I've done that, and I'm still walking straight without even knowing that I'm doing it. Yeah.
But that's remarkable, is that sensation of you're moving yet you're not moving, like what you were talking about.
Your turn.
I don't know. I do remember one day after a meeting, well, the next it was it was about 8 years ago, and I had this beard, and I went home and started to shave it. Had the clippers, and all of a sudden, just total amazement. This hand is doing this. There's no thought. There's no person. There's nothing. This is the appearance in the mirror of a hand. And they started to create this. I was just in awe of this experience, because there was no one to claim it. It was just watching, and then it shaved half the beard and made this funny goatee, right? and I could never have thought, and there was no plan to make this goatee thing, and then anyway, then the experience went away, and it's like, and then this me came along and claimed it. So to honour the experience, it started to grow the goatee. Like, that was a time when I knew that there was no doer, and it was wonderful. And now to honour that, I'm going to grow this beard. Absolute ridiculousness. I don't know why I'm saying that anyway. But,
Brilliant.
But there was something else in today's talk. Like, you spoke a lot, Bob, about the word is not the thing, and thoughts and words are vibrating patterns of energy, and you know, like the Buddha described it as cognizing emptiness, or form is emptiness, or emptiness is form, and also like it's not just the word; it's like the whole world. Like with our thoughts, we make the world. It's like. It's just an incredible thing that there's nothing actually there, and there's no time, and it's in this moment where everything appears, from a world, a universe, planets, people, me's, you's, dogs, cats, all objects, but it's not. It's all in space, and its appearances vibrating to make it look that way. And if the words are dropped, it just is just that. And back to the same simple message that you point so clearly is, you know, leave it as it is, unmodified, uncorrected, unaltered. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Beautiful. I have a comment from Dale Allison. She says, I love that. I'm always where I am, and it's like things move through me rather than me moving through a static world of things. And yeah, and we also had on last couple of Zooms similar realization, which the central point was that the life is leaving me, or the I or the body is being lived by life. Like you say, you know, you can see the body moving or the body doing, and the mind on top of it doing the commentary. It also does what it is designed to do. Heart is designed to pump the blood. The body is designed to follow the path of really avoiding danger and following pleasure and safety. And the mind is designed to comment, to make a commentary. And none of it is done by any entity. Nobody has ever found the doer of any of it. And that was a beautiful recognition. We had someone, I don't want to say the names because I don't know if they are happy for me to say the names, to actually have the final opening of the mind through that simple pointer, one pointer, which when you see through, uncompromising. There is no one who does anything. Life is being lived, it leaves the body. And that takes you all the way through and shows you every other aspect of that oneness. If there is no one there, obviously, there's no one to segregate and separate and make divisions. But I had another sharing this morning, it came via email. And again, I'm not saying a name, but the understanding came from realizing that there is just what is. As you said, unaltered, unmodified, uncorrected, just what is, and thoughts. And the thoughts which say, I see it, I hear it, I do it, I interact with that, but they are just thoughts, they're part of what is. Without those thoughts, there is just what is. And the thought, oh yeah, but there is still a me, I'm still not getting it, I'm still here, how am I going to be certain? Like Bob and Kat, they are certain, and I don't have that certainty. That's all thoughts. There is no one there to be certain. The idea that there is someone there who has the certainty that they are not, or they are emptiness, that's a thought. That's bullshit. How obviously. And when that have been seen, the mind opened up. It rests its case. That's it. It puts aside and, so it's just what is. Just this present moment. Ever fresh, ever new, all alive. And the thoughts, oh, this is me seeing, this is me here, this is me, blah, 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 blah. That's it. So this is what I love about this gathering, sharing really what penetrates. Because as Bob ended the spiel with saying, everyone had the glimpses, everyone was born to the natural state. Everyone was prior to language once. And everyone has the moment of just being completely indulged in sensory experiences where the narrative doesn't even have enough of the free attention to kick in. So those are, everyone falls to a dream and see how the world comes out of nothing. Just like you were pointing, Dean, that you can see the whole appearance, the forms, the objects, the things that are being named and interpreted by the mind. The same thing happens when you close your mind, close your eyes, and you remember yesterday. The whole world comes into it. It is totally within the consciousness. The whole world appears within the conscious awareness, within the presence. So what are you? An imagined entity within that presence, or the presence, which can't be denied? And there is 2 more comments on a one. Ruchika says, it is so hard to comprehend that the whole world is projected from within us. Any thoughts on that? Thank you, Bob and Kat. Yeah, lovely idea, but the disclaimer to it is, it's not a within or without. Because when the whole world is projected from within, well, that within is also part of the world, which is also being projected. The within and without is all a projection. So there is no one who does it. There is just a basic, software which you can see reflected. We had a meeting yesterday with a friend who was actually elaborating on that reflection of the same basic pattern, the same basic duality in everything, in the body, in the sky, in the Hubble telescope, in the behavior of the animals. So that basic duality inside out, black, white, happy, sad, is everywhere. So it is hard to comprehend, and thankfully you don't have to. There is nothing that needs to be understood. Anita, go on.
I must say, I think one of the things that I directly experienced when I had that, when the person dropped for some period of time, is how simple it is, how close it is, and how you know it already. But the mind has got like a mirage over the top of it.
Yes.
It is you. It has always been you. And then when you see that, you say, "Oh, it's so simple." When you allow the mind to drop, it's just such a. It's so personal and intimate. It's always been there. Of course, it's been there. It's delightful.
Beautiful.
It's not separate.
Oh, I was just thinking about puppet shows. It's a nice way to look at it, isn't it? It helps to take things a little less seriously. If you could see the narration in your head as and even this form or whatever is all puppets. Yeah, nothing else to say.
Tony.
I'm not a puppet.
I'm not a puppet. Oh, yeah, you think so?
Punching Judy.
Punching and Judy.
The Buddha actually used that analogy of just like, I think he was showing the difference between nama and rupa, just like a wooden puppet, by means of the clever magician pulling the strings, the inanimate wooden puppet can be made to stand up, to move around, to seem full of life and energy. Just so, nama and rupa, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, for me, like, the concepts aren't really a thing. Like, never believed in free will, and once they pointed out here, like, was there a you? No, it's not there. Can't say anything about that, so that's not something that is true. Can't say it's not. But yeah, here it's more like somebody was saying the other day, just the thoughts of, the annoying things that are going on right now. That's just what every half second we back in the head, after like half a second of like, oh yeah, not thinking. And yeah, I was just reading something today that was kind of, pointing out that there's the people who regret about the past, and maybe they tend to anger, and I tend to worry about the future. But actually most of it really is just annoyance with the present, and in some ways, like, being much more aware of that going on brings me back to the no thinking much more easily. So, and also because it's sort of, I think, being around the energy here and just gotten to a point of removing enough blocks that that is more present anyway with some triggers, things read. But I think what will probably go on today, there will be more noticing of what is annoying now and letting go of that and seeing the no thinking come back.
And the experience also for me is that even with those thoughts, the annoying thoughts, there's a consciousness which is aware of those thoughts. There is a consciousness. You know that you're having those thoughts. Who is the knower and who is the thought? So it doesn't matter what hijinks the mind does. There's always that background consciousness, not identity, but consciousness or awareness is happening. How do you know they're having the thought?
Those thoughts about consciousness never show up here.
Yeah. That's I was saying for me also, when any thoughts show up, good thoughts, bad thoughts, there is still an awareness of thought coming and going. That is the amazing shift. Sorry.
That's good.
That short of there being an awareness doesn't show up here either.
That's
Just doesn't
good that
show.
it doesn't show up. It is not something that comes and goes, so it can't show up.
Yes.
If it shows up, it's not it.
It's
I-
not even.
I know, that's the point. That's exactly what we're pointing. Something that never changes, so it's totally invisible, indetectable, it's pre-sensory.
It's still an assumption.
No, it can't show up. It can't show up. Because if it does show up, it's a sensory experience. If it shows up, it is a thought. It's like the insight that I got on the email this morning. There is just what is, and the thought. Thought comes and goes. And just what is, of course, the content of what is comes and goes. But that what you try to grasp, it can't be grasped. You can't even say that it is there or it isn't there, because this is what you are. So you can't grasp it, you can't deny it, can't do anything about it. You might just as well not worry about it. But the fact is that yes, the thoughts are noticed. They show up or they don't show up. But this which we are talking about, it neither comes nor it goes. And it doesn't have temperature, flavor, shape, form, nothing. So it's totally beyond the grasp. And I have another, just a quick one. Patrick says, in February I sat in a room speaking with Bob and was filled with sense that the apparent we is one and the same and not separate. It is good to join this moment from what is apparently 16,500 kilometers away and be reminded that the apparent us is one and the same and not separate, wave of the one ocean. And Manju says, leave what the thoughts appear. You know they're coming and going. You are the knower of the Tony. So that was Manju of them, Tony. Yes. Tony, did you want to answer?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, so
Yeah, the only thought that does pop up here, but I make no meaning of it, it's just a thought, is there is no void. That's the only base actual
Good enough.
assumption that pops up, but it's not believed as an assumption because
Yeah,
when you're not
that's-
thinking
that's
about it, it's not there either.
pretty good description. That is pretty good. Actually, it's nicer than the emptiness. Yeah, it's lovely. Mm.
everything is phenomena, isn't it? The whole caboodle, whether it be problem or its antidote or anything like that. It's all just that, isn't it? That's the bottom line. Everything is that. And that's only so all the sensations that one has in the body about everything is phenomena. Everything, and I think a really nice thing to know about that is that it's all equal. Actually, there is, Buddhists make a great thing of this in saying that everything has this fundamental equalness about it. The sensations arise in an equal way as the thoughts do, or equanimity. It's different to equalness, I think, in a sense. But whatever you want to make of it, it's fine. That's just all I have to say.
I think I've lost what I was. It's kind of slipped away into the ether. I have been noticing lately, just with work, my job has changed somewhat, and I'm doing a lot more talking to large groups, and something that previously would have made me quite, I guess, nervous. And there's still nerves when I write up until I have to, present to a group, and then what I seem to notice is it's almost like thought slips away, everything else slips away, and I'm just there presenting, talking to whatever it is that I have to talk to, and just the act of being present, there's like a simple joy that comes in behind, and it doesn't really matter what I'm talking about. There's just a joy and almost a watching of me talking about whatever I'm talking, and when I'm in those states and it's just happening, there seems to be just a much deeper kind of connection with whatever group I'm talking to. And it's almost like I'm just out of the way and whatever's happening is happening. And the very act of that, it's like the only thing you kind of have to remember is to get out of the way. And
Or include it all in.
yeah, well, I guess that allows you to include it, to everything to be included in one. So yeah, I think it's just something I've been noticing, and something I never thought would happen is that my work, which is somewhat boring, is almost becoming a spiritual practice. So it's nice.
Transformation.
That's all.
Beautiful.
And the love of being, the love of beingness.
Kavisha, do you want to sing about it? Or Julia wants
Yeah,
to
I have
speak?
a song.
Yeah, go on, Julia. We will try.
Do you want to sing a song?
You said.
I was just thinking about that children's nursery rhyme, that we were already being taught about this when we were little, but we didn't realise it. And it goes, hang on, I just got to. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I realised that one day. I went, wow, that's actually a spiritual song.
It is. Yeah.
There's a Paul Hogan joke as well. When the river of life, overcomes you and overturns your boat, don't swim against the undertow. Turn on your back and float.
Nice one.
We were listening in the morning to, I just kind of happened to click on John Wheeler's songs, which one of them is about the Experienc-ING who heard the Diamond Sutra and his mind opened up, and he realized that the Buddha is the light in my own mind, the light through which you're seeing, the light which you are. That's the Buddha nature. It is already present. Because you are alive, because you are seeing, that's it. That's what you are. That the light, Buddha is the light in my own mind. It's a gorgeous song. I think I have it uploaded somewhere. He also wrote a song tribute to Bob. We have it on the website if anyone wants to listen. But yes, those simple realizations, you never know which way they come. But when it comes and when you stay with it, it takes you all the way. And it is no you, it takes you, it takes the itself to the no you. It's always an ever awakening from the illusion of self to the dream that keeps going on. Even though there is no runner, there is no one who runs the dream, no one who takes credit for any doing in the dream. And then it becomes, like Loki was saying, incredibly mind-blowingly fascinating, even in mundane tasks that are happening by themselves. The boredom is impossibility, because you're witnessing a miracle of unfolding, ever fresh, ever fresh. No moment is the same. Have ever been like that, or will ever do. It's amazing. And when the attention is freed from the mind, the attention which is that light of your own mind, the Buddha light, the Buddha nature, the attention when it is not engaged in past and future or resistance to the moment, or generally is not trapped in the content of analyzing, comparing and narrating, that attention is free. And that free attention is the attention with which that present moment unfolding is mind-blowing itself, is fascinating. Like, what is not fascinating about even the capacity for seeing or capacity to move your arms? It's amazing. That is all amazing. And the beauty around, the colors, the shapes, the forms, the patterns, and the fact that there is aliveness that is not even sensed in a way as a vibration, which that can be sensed as well. So the boredom disappears, and suddenly they say the bliss of being comes forth. It's not the bliss in the definition that the mind has for it, eternal orgasm or constant pleasure, because that one is that one creates the serotonin shock which kills the machinery there. It can't exist. It can have a sample of ecstasy, but if it lasts too long, it just switches off the whole equipment. What a way to go, huh? But what a way to be just right now, and seeing that love of being, that joy of being, without needing to constantly follow the mind's ideas of the next pleasure around the corner. But finding the joy and finding that not only nothing is wrong, but finding that joy and pleasure is already present, right here, right now, without looking. It's not excessive looking to find a pleasure. It's realizing that it has never been away. It's already present. Like also, Anita, you were saying, it's so simple that once it opens up and you see it, you realize, oh shit, it has always and ever been here. It's never been hidden, never been far away. And it's closer than your hand and feet. It's closer than your breath and the heartbeat. It's the Buddha is the light of my own mind. It is the aliveness.
Ever heard of orgasmic birth?
I did hear about it.
You did hear about? Yeah, there's women. There's YouTube channels, you can check them out, about women who talk about and I think what's happening is they've released whatever the mind goes to when instead of using the word contraction, they might just not even give it a word and allow a sensation, and somehow what has historically always been one of the most painful things a human can endure is orgasmic, and it's you can have a 36-hour orgasm. I'm thinking, huh? You think? Well, ask the women who. I don't know. I don't know, but I was just thinking that could get boring after a while.
I have a wonderful comment just to that statement, because this is Bradley, and he's got brilliant comments, and that one really applies to what you were just saying. Don't believe what you see what you believe. How simple. And Manju says, so true, Bradley. And Patrick, I think Bob said it in his writings when he talked about the moment that precedes thought. Yeah, and Jyoti says she heard Bob's Wheeler tribute song. It is very good. Yeah, it's a song about what's wrong with right now. How was it there?
Unless you think about it.
Yeah, I know. Unless you think about it. He learned it from the old sailor bobbing along. Yes, this Jyoti is a different song. It is a Huey Nang song. I think if you Google it, I put it on YouTube because I kind of needed a background to my beautiful session of pictures from Vietnam Zen monastery, so I just used that one. Yeah, so whether all those stories, I mean, nothing is impossible in the appearance. Absolutely nothing. It's the dream. Everything's possible. It's like, it's like in the dream. You can do the lucid dreaming and you can have anything. You can have 36-hour orgasm and not die. Completely against the principle of how the machinery works, but apparently you can bring up the dead and heal the sick, all in the dream. But who is there who has it, and who is there who cares or chases for it? That's the better question. And we have
You said we have what?
Oh no, it was just Jyoti saying, thank you, Kat, I'll check it out. So that's... Paula?
Well, this might be a good time to share an experience of mine, and it was in 1997, and I was being introduced to a room full of people that were studying the Course in Miracles, and I walked into this room. I had no idea what I'd been reading the book, but I didn't know what I was walking into. And I sat in this room, and when I walked in, it was like I was walking into a room of honey. That's how it felt. And at the same time, my head was going, holy God, this is horrible. This is a cult. I'm out of here. But I sat down. Yeah, Peter was... I sat down in front of a teacher called Hector, and oh boy, and I thought, yeah, he's just this cult leader. I'm going to expose this guy, and I'm going to tell everybody to run. Yeah. And I was closer than I am now to Bob. I was, much closer, and I challenged this fellow, and he verbally and energetically attacked me, really, and that's what it took for me, and it's like I was gone, and I couldn't hear a word that he said, but I ended up on the ground, and it was an enormous relief. I was being born again with a river running through the body, and with that was ecstasy. And it was like an orgasm. And I was, it was a full body orgasm where I was screaming and laughing, and it was ecstatic. And, the energy was just pouring out of my body. It was coming in and going out. And I stood up, and I knew everything had changed, like my whole world had totally changed. But I didn't know it was only but the beginning. I thought, this is it, I'm enlightened. I know. But what I wanted to say was, for a whole, probably a year after that, all I had to do was go into this room, and because I felt safe, that's often where it happened. And this fellow would be often, he was there just silently, the music was playing. And I knew if I got into the centre of the room and there was a portal there, I could go. And honestly, my experience every time was I would disappear into an orgasm. Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Yes, I know.
It was ecstatic. So every time it happened. Well, look, the session... No, for as long... The sessions went often for 4 hours. Yeah. And that's... This group was like a meteor, It only lasted for a while and it exploded on itself. It couldn't last. And it couldn't last, of course, that experience. It wasn't the... Yeah, well, I don't know the name of it. So, but every time I went there, I would just, I was orgasmic. So it is possible. That's almost, it's like I've had mushies or something, but much more powerful and cleaner, psilocybin experience. You know that it's not chemical, it's just this pure ecstatic, orgasmic thing, but and all the sounds and everything were there. I know, it was really, and I wasn't embarrassed. These natural screams would come out. And Hector, this guy, he reckons he could see colours coming out of my head, and he reckons it was probably from past lives, like impacted pain. And that's what it felt like. Releasing. I was releasing like lifetimes. What?
There is no past life now.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, that's right. I've had enough.
Yes.
And
there's no social media.
Yeah, I know. I would have gone viral. So yes, no. It's no laughing matter. It's actually available. That if you know that ecstatic, orgasmic, natural experience. Now I don't experience that, and of course I realised that was wasn't going to get me anywhere, and so this of course is the real thing where I can't even, anyway, so thank you everyone. I'm in the midst of the real thing.
I can vouch for Paula's efficacy on this matter. I think we're all, in essence, it boils down to the fact we're all females, and God is the only male principle, and He's royally fucked us all. So.
But it's just an experience, right?
Just experience, exactly.
It comes and goes.
Yes, so Bob was in the community as well, and I have been in the community as well, where there was a lot of spectacular experiences, really pleasant.
Which one was that?
Bob was with Muktananda, where there was Kundalini. I was in Course in Miracles community as well, same community but in America. And we did have all those light sessions and all those orgasmic experiences. And I know, unfortunately, there was quite a few unfortunates, people from Central America whose visa wasn't long enough. And after spending few months in that community, they got addicted to that amount of pleasure and to that intensity of pleasure. And they would find a way to cut their life short. They would just take pills, or they would jump under the train. Because, unfortunately,
the mind didn't change.
This is also a machinery. No, it doesn't do anything. It just is a pleasure. What it does, it actually dysregulate or overload the dopamine receptors. And now it's like in a case of, I don't know, I don't have an experience, first-hand experience of heroin addiction, but what I've studied about when our friend had the issue with it was that the dopamine receptors got damaged. And now the only pleasure you can ever have comes from that overload, which is the drug. So what happened, suddenly you cannot experience any sense of joy or pleasure when you have those intense experiences. So life's becoming not worth living.
What ice addicts experience.
Probably.
They get to such pleasure that they have to keep having it, and that it's a very dangerous thing.
Yeah. So that's why Bob is always saying that all sorts of experiences are happening to people, but what is it that the experience take place on? Where is that experiencing happening? What is the basic screen that registers intense experience, blunt experience, thought, feeling, emotion? All of it happens within that, what we call the reality or the truth. Experience comes and goes. Sensation comes and goes. Image, even the conceptual image that we hold about ourselves, that comes and goes. And that changes. So we can't even be our concepts of ourselves, obviously, if it is changing, and it happens within that space-like awareness or presence that we are, that undeniable being. Did you want to? Yeah.
I just wanted to say to you, Paula, was that guy had a lot of siddhis, what they call siddhis, powers, and like in the spiritual path that people get siddhis, but they're distractions, rather than they're not it, but those powers open up when on the journey, and people get distracted by all those things and think that's it. Yeah,
because it intensifies experience. Those cities intensify experience, and then you get caught up in experiencing, but it's not it. Doesn't go anywhere, except a craving for more powers. Oh yes. I totally get what everyone's saying, but how I experienced it was, I was love. I experienced it ceased being an experience, and I was just this vibrating being of love. That's what it was.
That's what ultimate pleasure is.
Oh, is that
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Everything's love.
Yeah, everything everything is love. That's
Even
exactly
pain
right.
is
And I'd go,
love.
yeah. And I'd go every leaf and every, well, when you're trippy, you know, like that.
Amazing.
So that's, you know, that's,
Yeah, beautiful.
yeah, it was more than just ecstatic pleasure. It was an opening to who I am. And I know that you know, that was a window into what is possible, I suppose. And then,
I had an experience, and we used to go back us to a tantric teacher, and he taught not to go for the orgasm.
Yeah.
And when you get on the other side of the orgasm, and this particular experience I had was by myself, and the orgasm kept repeating itself and repeating itself until I went into another stage where it was like two energies were in me, and at the time I thought the concept comes that it was Shakti and Shiva uniting in my body. And then that disappeared and become one. And in that oneness was God and love. And the experience was happening through the heart and through the back of the womb. And it was an opening into that place of pure love and stillness. So when you get past it, not going for the orgasm, the other takes over. It's sacred. It becomes a very sacred experience.
Yeah, it is. I have another comment here is for Paula. Manju says, great experience, but don't want to hang on more exotic experiences. You are beyond all experiences. Who knows all this? And yes, as you were saying also, and I'm absolutely sure that everyone in the room could spend an hour talking about their peak experiences in life. Throughout life, we will have many experiences, peak experiences. Negative experiences sometimes are transformational. When I was working at sea, people were telling me about their peak experience as a young father taking a child, which completely shattered the world as he knew it and opened him up into perception which is beyond. And it is also love. So whether it happens through psilocybin or whether it happens through the cold interaction of CD powers, or whether it happens through childbirth, experiences, peak experiences are totally wonderful and valuable, and this is the way life unfolds. Life takes you the way it takes you. But yes, there may be a little glimpse into one or the other aspect, but the truth of the reality is beyond even the greatest pleasure of the most ecstatic love. It is even more, because that one has the opposite. Even if the opposite is the absence of experience, there is an experience and there is no experience. The reality or the universe or presence of awareness or the truth is even more inseparable and all-enveloping or inclusive than the particular moment in time, which soon fades away and is being made to a story in the mind that may be very well appreciated and then may be a wonderful memory. But
that experience is still in me as that love
right now?
And vibration. Yes, love and vibration.
Yes, so what is now that matters?
Yes,
What
it's
is
still
now?
there.
Yes, lovely. Yes, stay with what is. Because what was is
and there's
dead.
a story about Ramana Maharishi where he had that experience with the mountain. Aranchala, I think, is where ashram is. And he had that was how he had that same experience into ecstasy.
I'm sure we could have like 1,000 hours of people sharing peak experiences. Like sometimes people share favorite books, and then we could just open a book club and talk forever. They all fantastic.
Did you have an initial?
He did. Tons of Kundalini experiences. And how important are they right now?
Not very much at all.
Exactly.
Who wants to have the experience? See, I guess that's the thought that just keeps coming to mind. Is it appears that, the experiences are lovely. I've had a few. They're wild. They're fun. But it's because I met people who were also wanting these cities, and when I was first learning about all this stuff, we were taught the cities can be a trap. Because what can happen is we get kind of caught this idea of a me that can get cities, constantly seeking cities.
And that's what separates you from those who don't have it.
No, we're not laughing at you, Julie. Please, I'm just laughing at Paula.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something, Bob?
Yeah,
before all experiences, events, and happenings, I am. After all experiences, happenings, and events,
I am. And this is a beautiful comment which Bob didn't read and Bradley just put up. The operative word is experience that has beginning, middle, and an end. Creates the addicted seeker wanting to recreate the experience. Be still, now, and know that you are God. And Catherine says, does the absolute need an experience? Every experience is transitory. And Manju says to Bradley, hi Bradley, I don't feel you are God unless it dawns to you. Oh yeah, go on.
And the grass grows by itself, sitting silently, doing nothing. Spring comes, and the grass grows by itself, sitting silently, doing nothing. Spring comes, and the grass grows by itself, sitting silently, doing nothing. Spring comes, and the grass grows by itself, sitting silently, doing nothing. Spring comes, and the grass grows by itself, sitting silently, doing nothing.
Beautiful. And that's the experiencing. Within the experiencing, grass grows by itself.
We'll have another experience tomorrow.
Yes, there is a Zoom tomorrow. So if anyone would like to, and it's within the field of experiencing, in an apparent future, there is a Zoom tomorrow, and there is all the information is on sailorbobadamson.com/meetings. There are 3 Zooms in a week, and anyone is welcome. They're free of charge. Just click on the link and yes. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.